can say it that way, right? You say that, that's shocking to them. Guaranteed, it is, sometimes it's just, they don't believe it. But you can just show them, clearly. If you don't believe in Jesus, you do not believe in Islam. You can start out by that. But eventually you have to say, look, but we do not believe that Jesus was divine. Just as we do not believe that Muhammad, peace be upon him, was divine. You can say it like that. You understand that? That makes it a lot more palatable to them, but at least you're conveying the truth. So, that's don't talk disparagingly about that. Now, one thing that you can do is related to the commonalities is that when you're talking about certain issues in Islam and you're presenting them, you have to know which ones are going to be. You have to know where they're coming from, what they're hearing, right? So you have to know what they're probably thinking. So hijab is going to be one thing, right? That they're going to be thinking, wow, to them it's something that's foreign. That's how they're thinking, right? This is a foreign thing. This is oppressive to women. All of this kind of thing. It's forced on them. All of this stuff, right? So if you know that, again, you have to speak affirmatively, but try the best way to undo their image quickly before you have to go in depth and explain, related to something that they already are comfortable with. So for hijab, what would you do? What is something you can relate to, especially for nuns? I think that's always a great one. And then there was another one that somebody mentioned, and that was Mary, peace be upon her, right? Right? If you see, so nuns, first of all, you could start out with this even before you talk about hijab and just be like, so, if a nun were to, if you see a nun, walk in, what would your image of her be just without ever talking to her or whatnot? Now, some people, if they went to a Catholic school, they might joke around and say, oh, they're really strict and whatever it is, right? But in general, it's not going to be, oppressed or that type of thing. That's not going to be their image. What you've done is, and you can explain it, it's not exactly the same thing as nuns, but look, you don't have a problem with that. Why do we have a problem with women who choose to cover in Islam? If they're choosing, again, out of piety, they're choosing to do that. That's their belief, and they're doing that. So, related to the Mary, peace be upon her, right? What picture do you see of Mary? I've never seen a picture, of Mary without hijab, basically, right? I've never seen it, right? So are you telling me that if Mary walked in, you would profile her and kick her off the plane and do all that, right? Hey, I've never seen a picture with Jesus, peace be upon him. Well, look, we don't depict him, but they depict without a beard, right? So again, you brought it home to them. I mean, it's going to make a lot of them think. They're going to say, "Oh, you're right," So again, Jesus would be the first one in their image that they have to be profiled, guaranteed. Guaranteed, he'd be pulled over. And he'd be taken aside, like the image that they have. So you can relate it to them, so you remove some of that foreignness or something that they're comfortable with. You relate it. You can do that with everything. Now, Sharia, that one we're just talking. We're still trying to come up with a good, thing that they can relate to in terms of that. It's a little bit more difficult. I mean, I always think something like, look, in terms of personal code. Obviously, you have the Jewish law, you have halakha, and you have canonical law, but I don't think that's going to do it. Like in terms of making comfortable in terms of a simple way of something that's similar. So we can brainstorm that a little bit. I was thinking something like, you have a code of chivalry, for example, right? You follow that code. It's not something you impose on somebody else, but that's something that we follow. It's something that we believe that you follow personally. So try to relate it to the people that you're talking to. I want to make sure I cover these things real quick, and then I'm going to open up questions because I actually have to leave. When you're talking to somebody, personally, you have to gauge, first of all, what's your relationship with this person, right? Is this some complete stranger? You have to feel them out a little bit, whatnot. Try to build, if you have time with somebody, like if they're a coworker or a student that is in a class with you, whatnot. Don't take things too fast. Like, don't try to go from A through Z or of Islam in like 5 minutes. Okay? Take it easy. Talk to them slowly. Take a breath. Talk to them slowly. Listen to them. Let them ask questions, and slowly share. You're open. If you're showing them you're open, they'll come to you and start asking, and then it's all fair game, right? Because they asked you. So let them do that. Build that relationship. Build that trust. We talked about in the beginning. But I'm saying that build that trust and engage that before you go on and start talking about all these heady issues. Okay, in your conversations, this goes towards that confidence thing, but you know, in a one-on-one type of setting where people, I often found this to be, you know, in terms of opening the door and letting people talk to you about stuff and showing your confidence. So if it's time to pray and I'm going to pray, I wouldn't even blink my eye. I just say, hey guys, I just gotta go pray. Okay? Sure. The first time you're like, what are you talking about? You know? But you say, oh yeah, you know, hey, I'm a Muslim, so I just have to pray. You know what I'm saying? Like we prayed at a certain. You understand what I'm saying? They asked you, so you just opened the door, but you were very confident about it. Like it was a matter-of-fact thing, right? Be matter-of-fact about it. You know, don't be like, and then you're doing something, you know, in the corner that they have no idea your cubicle or something like that. You know, just be open about it. You know, and incorporate it into your conversations. Like say, oh yeah, you know, next week, you know, we have our religious holiday. We have Eid, you know, and so you know, I'm not going to be here, right? I do that all the time at work or wherever it is. What you've done again is you're very normal. You almost acted like they should know what it is, which you know, like makes them think, oh wait, and they'll ask you. You know, they'll ask you about it because you opened it up. You seem very comfortable talking about it. So you can incorporate things in like that. And I think that's a technique that you should use a lot when talking to others. Okay, and then two important points. Don't be afraid to admit when you don't know something. Okay, because you can do a lot more damage when you start to talk about something that you don't know. And all of us have been there because in our desire, we don't have bad intentions when we do this. I know, in fact, we have good intentions, but unfortunately, the action might actually hurt us more. So you desire so bad to explain something to somebody, you just try your best in whatever you do know, and you know inside you don't know the answer, right? Just it's okay to say, look, listen, you know, that's a good question. I don't know the answer. You know, let me go ask somebody who has a lot more knowledge, and I'll get back to you. You know, that doesn't mean there isn't an answer. Let me just get back to you on it. You know, oftentimes if it's that type of question, they've read it somewhere in a book. Okay, so they don't even know what the meaning behind the question is. You know, they've read a book by Robert Spencer, and they've asked you a question, you know, a lot of times, and that's why it's a little bit more complicated, and you can't just answer right away. Like they might ask you what taqiyya is. So like, how do I know you're not doing taqiyya with me? Right? Who knows what taqiyya is? Like, who's heard that term? Nobody's heard that term here at all? Okay. No, I understand, but you've never heard it, right? You've heard it, you know? Right? No, my point being that, like, you should have heard it at least because this is a term. That's what I'm trying to say, right? This is a term that's out there that they will be asking you about because they're reading it in these books, The Politically Incorrect Guide to Islam, okay? So that's another part of it. You need to know what you're going to be dealing with, okay? It's not like it used to be. You know, when I went to boarding school, that's the thing, like, you didn't have these books out there. Now the stuff that they're asking is not going to be basically like, why do you pray? They're going to say, okay, how do I know you're not doing taqiyya? Oh, this is all part of creeping Sharia. You know, you're just trying to, you're acting all nice and stuff like that, and then you're going to impose Sharia on me. You know, you're here to dominate. You know, that's what you're here. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they're going to think through all these things, and they're going to ask you about, what about house arrest in Islam? You know, for women. You know, things like, these are the questions that they'll throw out at you, and you're going to say, you know, I don't know. So just be, it's okay. Just say you don't know. You know, I don't know the answer to that. Let me get you the answer. I'll be more than happy to. You may not want it, but you know, at least you can do that. And lastly, you know, the best way to convey or present Islam to your fellow Americans is to actually live the principles of Islam in your life. Okay, it should be very obvious, but it's not. Okay, unfortunately, because you know, oftentimes Muslims, we want to talk about it all the time. We want to say that charity is part of Islam. We want to say that honesty is part of Islam. We want to, you know, say like smiling is a charity. All these things, right?